Hey preteens, how's it going? We are in our second week of our Journey Below the Earth series, where we take a little bit deeper look, deeper dive into the scriptures and stories that we're learning in that series. So this week, we are learning all about how God provides for us, and we need to trust Him that He's going to be providing those things for us. You know, before I go any further, I want you to do something for me. I want you to pause the video, go get a drink of something really quickly, and come on back. All right? Ready? Pause in 1, 2, 3. All right, you back? All right, so I've got some water here. Let's do a cheers here. Cheers. It's good. You know, I don't know what kind of drink you got, but if nothing else, you probably went to the faucet, you turned it on, there was water there, you filled up a glass really quickly, and you came back. Wasn't that hard. God provides for us in some very practical ways. And He did so for God's people. God's people were leaving Egypt. They've left Egypt, they've left slavery, and God sent plagues on Egypt, miraculous signs and wonders in order to cause Pharaoh to want to let God's people go. God provided again for His people as they neared the sea, and He parted it, and He allowed His people to cross on dry land and washed Pharaoh's army away. God also led His people and provided for His people by giving them a leader that they could see in Moses. God also led them as a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. God also provided for his people when they were hungry. He gave them manna from heaven, and I don't know what it was, and neither did they, so they called it manna, which means, what is it? They didn't know what it was, but they ate it, and it was enough for an entire nation to eat. But they did something with that, and they did something all along the way. They complained. They complained that they were slaves. They complained that they were free. They complained about Moses' leadership. They complained about the manna. So God sent quail for them to eat. Again, for an entire nation to eat. And they still complained. Here, in our passage today, they're back to doing that very same thing. So we're in Exodus chapter 17, starting with verse 1. We're going to read it, and we're going to talk about it here together as we go. So it says these words. It says, "The whole Israelite community set out from the desert of Sin, traveling from place to place as the Lord commanded. They camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. So they quarreled with Moses and said, 'Give us water to drink.' Moses replied, 'Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you put the Lord to the test?'" So here the Israelites are doing what they do and complaining and needing water. They're thirsty, but they don't go to God. They go to Moses, and they complain to Moses, and they grumble to Moses. And Moses is really frustrated. And I would be too. Because the Israelites, they just seem to be never satisfied. So they're thirsty. They go to Moses. And it's not like Moses is holding back water that he has in cases that he's ready to just give out to the people. They're in a desert. There's just no water to be had. And so Moses is really frustrated. Why are you testing God yet again? Why are you asking for God, who has done so many miraculous things for you? Why are you asking Him to do something else like that again? Because you know that God is not going to let something happen to His people. If He did all of these things to bring them to this point, I don't think He's going to let His people just die of thirst. And so we continue. "But the people were thirsty for water, and they grumbled against Moses. They said, 'Why did you bring us out of Egypt to make us and our children and livestock die of thirst." Then Moses cried out to the Lord, "What am I to do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me." The Lord answered Moses, "Walk on and go ahead of the people. Take with you some of the elders of Israel and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. I will stand there before you by the rock at Horeb. Strike the rock, and water will come out of it for the people to drink." So Moses did this in the sight of the elders of Israel, and he called the place Massah and Meribah, because the Israelites quarreled and because they tested the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" It's amazing to me how much the Israelites took God for granted. That at their beck and call, God would just provide these wonderful things. And, I wonder if sometimes that frustration that I have with the Israelites isn't also directed toward me. For as many times as the Israelites complained in the scriptures and people looked down on them for that, and listen, they earned that right, I wonder how many times do I complain about things that aren't important? Or I complain to God about things that I feel like I should have, but in all actuality, maybe I don't really need. Or maybe I really need, but God might be providing for me in a way that I didn't really fully understand or expect. So for example, if I need transportation, I might want to have a Lamborghini, but that's not practical. That's not something that God might just hand over to me. I might just drive what I drive now, which is a nice car, but it's not anything like that. It's basic. It's something that is needed. God can provide in ways that we don't expect. Maybe I could carpool with somebody. Maybe I can walk. And, I have that ability. God provides for us all the time. And yet, I feel like maybe we complain a little bit too much. So this week, what I want you to do is I want you to think about all the ways that God provides for you that you probably just take for granted. And then I want you to do this. I want you to see if you can go this entire week without complaining. That's right. I want you to see if you can go the entire week without complaining. Because James 1:22 says that we need to not just listen to the word and so deceive ourselves. We need to do what it says. So when we trust God, we shouldn't just hear that we should trust God. We shouldn't just say that we trust God. We should actually live that out. So this week, trust that God is going to meet the things that you need. And then not complain about it. And watch what happens. Be mindful of all the different ways that God provides for you. I think you may be surprised. So that's all I've got for you guys this week. I'll see you guys next time.